This is Jason LeValley of Psychedelic Scene, and I'm here with Crispian Mills, frontman for the band Kula, who have a new album coming out in January called Worm Slayer. Thank you for joining me today, Crispian.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, the band's latest album, Natural Magic, and the previous one, First Congregational Church of Eternal Love and Free Hugs, have led to Kula having a creative resurgence. What do you think fuels Kula current wave of late career inspiration and vitality?
Cough syrup, um, caffeine, nose drops. Well, I think any band, obviously, you need to still enjoy playing music, but you also need to feel that it's your time. And, we still enjoy playing music and we've had a long career with lots of breaks. We've been quite reckless actually with our in terms of having like 4 or 5 years off between records and going off and doing other things like having families. That was reckless of us. But you know, when we hooked up with Jay, our original lineup, with Jay playing Hammond organ, it felt like it was a good time for the band. The Kula Shaker. The 21st century post-COVID world was just perfect terrain for a band like us. And especially, the whole kind of emphasis on live shows and storytelling. So we're here and it feels good and people seem to appreciate us being back, so we'll stick at it.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed the show in Tempe, as I mentioned before. I love your fascination with Indian mysticism and the culture. How is your personal journey? How does your personal journey shape the band's musical direction today?
Well, I'm just sitting in the van with everybody else, watching the road unfold. I mean, I think that in some respects, you can say, well, I brought the Indian thing in, but you know, it was brought to me by uh, people that I knew, some friends, and a girl I met, and various pe encounters that I've had. And then, you pass it on and I influence. I mean, Paul, our drummer, he's in India now. I'm not in India, I'm in Cornwall. And he's there with his wife and they're studying miniature painting. And, Alonso was at the Kumbh Mela, the great sort of spiritual sort of festival. He was in the great Kumbh Mela that had, millions of people there. And we've all had these kind of pretty unique experiences that we've absorbed, and the band is quite supercharged with a lot of incredible experiences and encounters. That's what you feed off, and I guess we got a lot in the tank.
Okay. You mentioned peak experiences. Have psychedelic substances played a role in influencing your music at all?
What would give you that idea? No, I picked this background because it reminded me of a nice cup of tea. Yeah, it's definitely a huge part of music. I mean, the type of music that we play as well, you at least want a point of reference. We were going to work once with um, Terry Gilliam just after he'd done Fear and Loathing, and we were working on the Pink Floyd boat studio with Bob Ezrin, and Terry came down, and we were talking about doing something for Peasants Pigs.
Oh, you froze up a little bit.
Oh, where did I freeze up?
Um, just, I don't know, about 10 seconds ago.
Well, we were working on the Pink Floyd boat, with Bob Ezrin, and Terry Gilliam came down. We were talking with him about doing some filming together for Peasants, Pigs, and Astronauts, which was a big, opus kind of concept album. And he said he'd never taken LSD. He'd never I think he'd had a smoke or something, but he'd never gone full psychedelic, and he wondered whether, it would actually sort of have a sort of inverse reaction and the effect would perhaps, like straighten him out, some people don't need it,
That's
but
true. His stuff is surreal enough on its own.
yeah, yeah, but certainly affects how you listen to music and gives you a different viewpoint. I think psychedelics have been a huge, even before the 60s, they were being dabbled in before it became a sort of popular culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the Marx Brothers the other day with my kids. They were definitely on something.
Okay. Um, you make reference in one of your songs, um, Broke as Folk, about your mother. And well, I was wondering what it was like growing up with a famous actress for a mother.
Walt Disney was definitely on drugs. Well, it was my mum was Disney kid, and that was a remarkable and extremely weird childhood. But I grew up, and that's all I knew, so it was normal for me. And it was only as I became an adult, especially when I had kids, that I was really able to appreciate how completely um, unnatural it must have been for her. And it took a long. I helped her with her memoir actually, which she was called Forever Young, and it dealt with that time
Mhm.
being at the Disney, being working for Disney for a whole of all of her teens, basically, and which was much more of a family studio in those days, and Walt was still the boss. But it actually was helpful for her, in her 60s and 70s to be able to look back on it objectively. It taken that long to see what a crazy extreme experience it was.
Yeah. What role does family play in your life and creativity, especially as you continue touring and making music?
Uh, well, I always loved the story, Francis Ford Coppola was saying, don't, I keep, he was saying, that he kept bumping into kids or meeting kids young filmmakers, and they were all saying, I can't have a family because my career is so important and I've got all this work to do. And he was always arguing that, you should have a family because it not only does it ground you and motivate you to have some responsibility and provide but it also it gives you a kind of a connection to the world, so you're not just living in your filmmaker bubble. And I definitely it's been a huge inspiration for me to have a family. It's given me a whole other reason to make music and a whole other perspective on life that I never would have had. So, it is hard though, without a doubt.
How old are your
It's
kids
not
now?
it's not easy. So everyone has to balance it. My kids are now 14 and 17.
Are they interested in pursuing a career in music or acting?
Yes, they're both insane.
Okay.
Yeah, they love music,
Yeah.
and the problem with music now is great it's not really a business anymore. It's been destroyed
Yeah.
by man, and it's been destroyed by the algorithms, it's been destroyed by Spotify, and
And AI now.
yeah, and AI. I mean, AI. AI is a lot of that is hype. There's no doubting that AI is an incredible technology, but AI music is shit, and you still need artists to make it sound good. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to replace anybody. There's lots of people with no taste
Yeah, that's
that
true.
that might be impressed by it, but I don't think it. I really don't. I'm not worried about that.
Okay. Kula Shaker is often grouped in with Britpop, and I was just wondering what do you feel sets Kula Shaker apart from the other Britpop bands, and what are your thoughts on the Britpop movement now?
Well, we were always cynical about Britpop, and we didn't even know what it meant. Obviously, now in hindsight, it wasn't just a kind of a media label. And there were a lot of guitar bands coming out of Britain. But I think what we were justifiably cynical about was the Britpop really wasn't about anything. It wasn't really a cultural movement. It wasn't saying anything actually, other than let's have a beer.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. And so I think there was some good songs being written, and it was fun. It was entertaining, but at the time I was always taking it with a sack of salt because it just didn't seem to be expressing anything very imaginative. I just thought it was fun, and that was about it. And when as we approached the millennium, uh, and we were like, well, no one is even singing, or what does it mean? And where are we going? Where are we headed? No, and that's why we went for it with our second album, with Peasants, Pigs, and Astronauts. We said, oh, somebody's got to do a concept album about the new millennium. It'll have to be us, I guess. So we did. And yeah, it ended up being not a huge success, but it was actually that record that sort of set us forward into on the new part of our career, which was to be a sort of a cult band.
Okay. Your lyrics often touch on themes that criticize systems of power or offer spiritual alternatives. Do you feel that music still has the capacity to create meaningful change in society today?
Well, m music on its own doesn't, but people do. And um, I worked with a writer called Bruce Robinson, and he wrote a very famous British cult film called Withnail and I.
Hmm.
And he
I've
was
seen
a
it.
real, yeah, he was really, I mean, he took being cynical to, another universe. And he would really go for it. And he didn't believe that films made any difference whatsoever. I think he was a reaction to a lot of very earnest um, filmmakers and film producers and writers in Hollywood who are all talking about their responsibility to, uphold a certain type of political or moral message. And he was like, films don't make a difference. It's absolute bullshit. And you could say the same thing about music, but the truth is that films, songs, books, they're all catalysts for people. And it's like critical mass, things come together and they help shape the identity of a movement and a worldview. And every now and again you have a Bob Dylan, but that's very rare. And even, or a Live Aid.
Hmm.
But even somebody like Bob Dylan was ready to get off and not be labeled, and I don't blame him.
Right.
Because as soon as you get lots and lots of people involved, it starts to become like a religion. Everybody has to say the same thing, and everybody's opinions all have to kind of conform, and it's a real drag. And the whole point about individual expression is everybody's got to be different.
Yeah. If you could work with any artist today, who would it be?
Oh, Shawn Mendes.
Shawn Mendes? Okay, you're joking.
I just walked past the television and he was on, and I was watching him, on some Netflix show. And he seemed to be ignoring the stadium that he was playing to, and he was just hamming it up for the camera. Thought it was disgraceful. I hope he's ashamed of himself.
Well,
I'll have to
okay.
think about it.
So that's what you're going to go with, Shawn Mendes?
Yeah, I'll have to be. I'll show him and just so I can punch him in the tit.
All right. Um, Many artists today feel
We want to
pressure.
do so. We want to. I tell you what, we want to do some gigs with King. That was something we were talking about recently.
Did you say King
we
Gizzard?
yeah, we were just thinking about talking about playing with them,
Oh,
and it's just there's a few bands that are just kind of exciting live, and that was one of them. We
yeah.
haven't really
That'd be a
talked
great
about
bill.
yeah, we haven't really talked about going in the studio with anyone. Um, but playing live and going on the same bill, that would be great. One of the people we really wanted to collaborate with was actually not a band, was a lighting guy. It was the Lance Gordon, the mad liquid alchemist
Oh,
from San
yeah.
Francisco.
He's
And
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, I was following him on Instagram, and I managed to get a message to him and just said, we really want to work with you, and we love what you do. And so we ended up bringing him over to Britain, and he just blew a lot of tiny minds here, and then it was great to play some shows with him in America too. So we want to do a bit more of that.
Okay, great. You have a new album coming out in January called Worm Slayer. What do you want to say about it?
What do I want to say? Buy it now. It's a genius.
I don't know.
I mean, it's the band's just sort of, I don't know, it just had a kind of a new lease of life, and Worm Slayer is just an inevitable next step since Natural Magic, where we kind of went back to our kind of 3 minute, 4 minute pop roots with Natural Magic. It was a lot of fun because we've done quite a bit of prog actually over the last 15 years. And Natural Magic was all very much like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then play fast and write punchy pop tunes and kind of give it a liberal sprinkle of psychedelia. But Worm Slayer has kept that, but it's sort of opened up the storytelling. And so, like the title track is like 9 minutes long and is in three parts, and it's a really good balance. We're really excited for people to hear it.
Great. Will there be another tour?
Yeah, I mean we don't stop. As far as coming back to America, yeah, I hope so. I hope next autumn. By then we'll be back again.
Great. Well, Crispian, thanks so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, man. We're all done, are we?
Unless there's anything else you'd like to say.
I, yes, ding bop too. Well, I'm glad I didn't break up anymore. At least my picture didn't break up, but maybe mentally. All right, man. Nice to meet you. Well, I hope I'll meet you next time.
I hope so too.
All
Take
right.
care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.